Right, ladies and gentlemen, if we can call the meeting back to order. I have a motion here removed by Carol Lawrence, second by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that the Council of Municipality of West Grey hereby returns to open session at 10:02 a.m. today. Moved and seconded. All in favor of that motion? Opposed, if any? That would carry. Okay. And only those matters that we went into closed session for were discussed in closed session as per the Municipal Act. I have another motion resulting from matters arising from closed session, moved by Don B. Marshall, seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby authorizes the Mayor and Clerk to sign a renewal of a lease agreement as amended for the municipal property described as 545 George Street, Durham, as discussed in closed session of Council. All right. Regarding the lease on the municipal property. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor of that motion? Opposed, if any? That would carry. All right, public meetings, we have none today. Consent agenda. I have a motion moved by Doug Hutchison, second by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that items A1 to C1 inclusive contained in Part 1 consent agenda be adopted, and further that authorization be given for the action to be taken as may be necessary to give effect to the recommendations contained therein. Regarding the consent agenda. All right. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor? Opposed, if any, and that would carry. The consent agenda is approved. All right. Award of tenders. We don't want to do that. No, do that right now.
That was all on the consent.
Okay, that was all on the consent. Yes, award of tenders. That's all been looked after. Department records, miscellaneous. Okay. We're down to communications from Mayor and Council. Anybody to report? Councilor Lawrence.
I just want to report on the Easter egg hunt that
Yeah, the mic is working today, Carol. Yes.
Okay. The annual Easter egg hunt that the Newstead Recreation Committee provides was really successful. I don't know, I couldn't even estimate the number of kids there, but many, and a great big pink Easter bunny was there as well. And however, we had to use the arena floor. The ball diamond and the park were lying in water, so it was held on the arena floor, but worked very well. So.
Very good. The Easter bunny was big and pink. Okay. Very good. Amazing how those go from winter to summer, and sometimes those, whether it's Santa Claus, whether it's the Easter bunny, he and or she is always around. Very good. All right, any other delegations? Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, three things. March 27th, on behalf of the mayor, I attended in Walkerton to the South Bruce Grey Health Center. It's a joint partnership between Gateway and the health centers. It's a study in correspondence with the University of Waterloo in regards to some health issues in the rural areas, some of the studies they're going to perform and so on lung disease and diabetes and so on. So that was worthwhile. There's MPPs from Bruce and Grey and MP from Huron County, and also MPP from Huron attended this function. Last Thursday, I attended the Ontario Police College with Chief Berger on the graduation of a new officer, Chad Brown, who graduated from the police college after 13 weeks. It was kind of nice to put back on the old uniform and attend and see some old faces and so on. And last thing I have is April the 16th, through the Economic Development Committee, working with the YMCA, we're holding a jobs fair at the Durham Arena from 2 p.m. till 8 p.m. And speaking with our CAO this morning, we have 10 organizations at this point that are interested in coming and being part of this. West Grey will be at the table too. the Durham Cemetery Board is looking for a new caretaker for the cemetery, and so on. So West Gray will be there also participating in the program. So if you can make it for that day in the afternoon, show your support and be appreciated.
I just wondered if Councillor Thompson might just add a little bit to the cemetery. It's not an immediate position.
No.
You just need to...
No, this is something that we decided as a board to look at. Our person that looks after it now is give notice that at the end of this year, he's going to formally retire from this position. So it'll be something for the next year, but we're looking at bringing someone on now or shortly to work alongside to get familiar with what procedures are at the cemetery. So anyways, yeah, it's nothing pressing at this point, but.
Okay, one of those planning things that we're starting early. Good, good. All right, we do have a delegation this morning. Lindsay Hunsberger from Warden Up to Grove is going to join us, and I presume that she is on her way, and we haven't heard anything different to that effect. So we'll await her arrival. And in the meantime, if staff and councillors will indulge me to move on maybe to staff reports. Our Director of Finance, Carrie, is with us this morning, and she has a presentation that pertains to everyone and all those good things that we like to talk about at this time of year, passing a budget potentially. So Carrie has some notes, and go ahead please, and welcome this morning.
Yeah, we'll do the accounts after.
All right,
or?
yes, let's do the accounts first then.
Okay.
Okay. These are all here. These will be all here. Okay. All right. So the accounts. Anybody on the accounts have any questions? First of all. Recognizing that, no questions on the accounts. I may have one little one myself. We maybe decided to go in a little different direction, but I guess on page 3 under West Gray Fire, Wayne Harris, he had some material purchased to build an air bottle rack, being that may or may not be going ahead as we had talked about previously. That may be, don't know who he is. Okay, it's $250 here to build a bottle rack. Okay, so maybe it's under fire under West Gray, so just not exactly sure where that's coming from, but that we maybe have to
Phil
do.
currently transports for our other 2 stations, right? So
Okay.
it could be something just to do with that, not to
All right.
add the other station.
Yes. Okay, and that very well could be what it is then. Okay.
Yeah, I can't answer that. I don't know. The nothing to do with Elmwood, anyways. That adoptions have been put aside, and unless they're looking at because of the transportation of dangerous goods and so on, they may be doing something on that.
Just here in West Gray.
Yes.
The other stations.
I can't answer that. I'm assuming that's what it'd be.
That's fine with that, okay? That's good, I was just wanting a little clarification, that explains that, and we'll find out a little more about that. All right, so, yes, Councillor Doug.
A question on page 9 has to do with cost submitted for Sandy Hamilton County Heating, but it has to do with frozen sewer lines. So I'm presuming he was called in to thaw some lines or some different addresses there. My question with that is that correct, Ken? It's got a jetter frozen sewer line. I'm not sure what that is. Is that a heating system or what is that?
Yeah, he has a specialized equipment for thawing out sewer lines, and this was on municipal property. We're right at the manhole, yeah. Some of the force mains that don't get used very often were freezing up on us, and that's the reason for
I
that.
think it was water. Anyways, I was at a LAS workshop last week, and
Doug, Mike, please.
sorry. I was at an LAS workshop last week, and they have a program that for $100 a year, the homeowner purchase, and that covers any, like if you have a break in your sewer line or break in your water line, they will repair that through this insurance plan. And I was just looking at that. I was thinking that was one of the costs that maybe was associated with going into homes and thawing out lines, but I know that we've done a lot of that this winter, where people have a freeze up, and then we would go in and either repair it or they would hook up to the neighbors. So this program that LAS has is that they do the assessment, and if it's on the homeowner's property, they repair it or they thaw it out, I believe. Now, it's something, I'm not sure about the thawing thing. I'm not sure how that works with them, but they do have a program that covers the homeowner, as I said, for $100 a year. And I'm just thinking, if we have a lot of costs associated with frozen pipes and eventually maybe breaks in lines and whatnot, that maybe we need to start looking at something like this where we promote it. The homeowners take on that cost, what I know, which would be $100 for the year, but it may save the municipality a fair bit of money too if we don't have to pay for those repairs or pay for going in and even thawing out the pipes. So I just thought it's something that may be worth looking at down the road and see if it's to our benefit.
Okay, very good. If we could get the homeowner to buy into that.
Well, that's true.
Idea.
Yeah, that's true. It's, I
Yes,
mean,
it
it is
is.
an added cost for them, but again, when we're going in homes 2 and 3 times,
Yeah.
especially if we're going to charge them $100 after the 3rd time, they've got their insurance covered.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm not exactly sure of how they work with the thawing out of pipes. It's more for breakage in the sewer line and whatnot, which is the homeowner's cost, like the sewer or the water line. If it's a breakage on their property, then they come in, and they do the assessment too, which I think is a good thing. Like, rather than us going in and trying to figure out if it's on our property or their property, they do that assessment. And then if it's on the municipality's property, then they let us know and we fix it. So,
Yeah, and some of that stuff is time sensitive, but yeah,
yeah, for
not sure
Yeah.
how fast they would be or anything
Yeah.
like that as far as
They
doing
do
that
use
assessment.
local contractors, so I mean, they would contact guys like Sandy Hamilton and say, would you be the go-to guy for that? So, I think it's worth investigating anyways and see if it's something that would be beneficial.
Okay. Thanks for that, Doug. Councillor Bev.
Just wondering why a company, why they wouldn't be promoting this to the public themselves, because West Grey is not the insurance business. We don't want to promote insurance purchasing by families, or else it's going to come back on us to, well, you asked me to buy it and now they're not covering it. Yeah, it's just going to be a nightmare. So I don't understand why a typical insurance company doesn't go to the public and say, you've had these issues, why don't you buy insurance? Why would we promote that?
Well, my understanding, LAS works through the municipality, so this is another program that they offer, and maybe Larry and Ken have more information on that, I'm not sure, but that's my understanding. They offer, the same as they offer a program for replacing your street lights and your lights in your arena.
You would buy the insurance from them,
It-
the homeowners?
Well, I don't know exactly how it works. It goes through the municipality. The municipality would have to be on board with it because there are incentives, I think, in the program too, for the municipality. That's my understanding.
Okay, information's always a good thing. If it's the desire of council to follow up with something like that, or, as Bev said, sometimes those programs, they'll benefit the company, maybe not the municipality as much.
I'm shy of that kind of thing, so.
Information's a good thing, but if we can find out more, Doug, or whatever, maybe Ken knows somebody that can get us some extra information, we can look at it again, but I don't think we're in the promotional, as Councillor Cutting has said, I don't think we're in the insurance promotion business, but I know what you're saying, but, okay. Yeah. Okay. Counselor Thompson, you had a question?
Yeah, Jerry.
Mike, please.
Not used to that anymore. Page 14 and 17 for council mileage. There's a couple councilors not listed on here. Is there?
Not everyone has submitted mileage. Just depends if they've
This is
submitted anything.
for February?
Yeah.
Mine, for example, was.
And it'll, I think yours offset the lunch
Okay.
entirely, I think, within
Okay.
35 cents.
So it's not
Yeah.
not recorded?
Yeah, the reimbursement for the expenses for the lunch is coming off your
Right, mileage.
mileage or
Right.
other expense checks.
Okay.
So, yeah, some haven't had mileage, but yours, I think it wasn't,
Balanced it.
it was just enough to offset it.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Thank you.
But saying that, we don't want you to eat more or drive any further. Would that be so? Okay, okay. Okay, good. Just wanted to make that clear. Okay, good. Thanks for that explanation. Very good. Any other questions on any of the vouchers? Councillor Doug.
Again, coming back to this workshop I was at regarding LAS, I just wonder with this street lighting thing, I know we had some discussions about some of our street lights being replaced by LEDs. And again, this is a program that LAS offers, and I'm not sure where we are in terms of this and our overall cost, but I'm looking on page 19, where we have a electricity bill for $5,390 for street lighting in Durham, and Douglas Street and Durham Street Light, and that's just one of the many different ones in here. There's the bridge lighting and so on. The LAS has a program too that is out there that you can convert your streetlights to LEDs. The program, there's a grant involved with that, but it ends at the end of this year. I think it's something that we should maybe look at somewhere down the line. I know that some people mentioned about the one in Ayton and they weren't real happy with the lights, but they've changed a lot in terms of the type of lights they use, the projection. There's a lot of criteria that they look at, and they actually come in and they'll do an assessment of all your lights and what it would cost to replace them, and then they have a program that covers that, for even loans and so on. So.
And I'm going to go direct this towards Mr. Gould because we have sat in on various, and I know Ken and I have sat in at various workshops at Good Roads, and there's lots of ideas when it comes to street lighting and whose are the best, and every company wants to take you under their wing, just from my experience. But Ken, and the other question is, we generally have X amount of dollars in there for street lighting every year, but I don't think we used ours last year. Did we use our street light? Did we replace some street lights under the budget last year? That 25 or whatever thousand it was? No. So we didn't use that last year, but you go ahead.
Well, I think what we need to do first, maybe particularly here in Durham, is probably do an assessment of what we got, like the poles, the distance from pole to pole, and the type of light that, because we did do 8 in there 3 or 4 years ago, and there is some concern about the darkness, that they don't show the same amount of light that the ones that we took off. So I think, I don't, as you mentioned, Doug, this company will do an assessment of your lights. So I think that would be the first step, is to come in and do assessment and maybe put a couple up to see if we're satisfied with the amount of light that's being shown. So, yeah.
So going forward, okay, I'm going to take these questions first. Ladies, pick who wants to go first.
Well, I'm not sure what this discussion has to do with budget, but anyway, we seem to be into it. Ken just said there's some concerns in Ayton. There's a lot of concerns in Ayton because of the darkness. And the whole point is those LEDs just come straight down. They do not have the cone. And I think, Ken, we've had the discussion before, but we need like double the poles to get the coverage of light. They're not intended for the distance between our poles. And if you want a very good example, Doug, go down to the Durham Industrial Park at night, and you'll see exactly what it is. After the tornado, they put LEDs or inductions. We put something in there. And it's just like a zebra. You've got white dark black, white, black. You can see ahead of you, and it's very black in the sections between the lights, so, and I think that's what they're finding in Eaton with the LEDs.
If I can
Okay,
just
go
respond to
ahead.
that, but I think, I'm not sure who did the ones in Ayton, and, but they come in and they'll look at what you have for lighting, and you can do it, compare, like the light bulbs have changed a lot over the years, and I think the systems are better, so they said that they can do whatever you want with these things. It's not just they put the bulb in and that's what you get. They look at how much light that you get and how much you need, and I think the systems are a lot better than they used to be. So, you know, I don't know if you can base it on what's there in the past. But cost-wise, that's the big thing too, I think. And then they do have a lot less pollution associated with them, light pollution as they call it, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Technology in the lighting industry has changed
Oh, yeah,
dramatically
amazing.
just in the last 5 years.
Amazing.
Yeah. Bev's next, please.
I would just, maybe to wind this up, I would just suggest.
Can we,
Thank
yeah,
you.
good, thank you.
Good job. I would suggest that if, yeah, I'll pay you later. If we're going to do some sort of assessment, not be by the company that's trying to sell you the product, because that's always a, you know, nothing is ever good and you have to replace it all. So if we're going to do an assessment, it should be by an outside source, not, we've been through this program before, got caught for 10 years worth of payments and did absolutely nothing for us, and cost us a fortune. And they came in and did the assessment. So I would not be in approval of having a company that's trying to sell you something do an assessment. It would have to be an outside independent. So just for the record.
Go ahead, Carol, no
Well,
problem.
just one more comment with regard to these programs and the supposed savings in ongoing electrical costs. If you recall, we had a program, a grant to put induction lights into Newstead Arena. And I don't know if they're induction or LED. Anyway, the result of it was it wasn't bright enough. We had to buy and install a whole new bank of lights. So where is your savings? I mean, we had to put the cost of a whole new bank of lights to give the same amount of light that we were getting before with the sodium lights. So there's two sides to that.
I think,
Last
like I
comment,
say,
Doug.
the assessment is the key, I think, and obviously you want to get comparable or even better than what you had. So, I mean, that's up to your assessment and how that works. Yeah, that's their job. Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah.
I see Mr. Adams has his finger on the pulse over here. Go ahead, Larry.
There's a number of opportunities out there, and there's a number of firms that will come in and provide you with an assessment on what you wish to do. I would agree with all the comments here. There's some concern about whether or not LED lighting is going to be the lighting of the future, or whether there is significant cost savings with it, but if you have to double the amount of light, it kind of defeats the purpose of putting them in. But it is something that we need to take a look at. And I do know that there's a number of firms outside of LAS that also provide the same service with the type of grant program as well. So it is something that we as your management team will look into and report back to council. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other, yeah, go ahead, Larry, again, yep.
As an answer to Councillor Hutchison's request, that building materials was purchased to put air bottles in an upright position to hold them while they're being transferred from station to station within West Grey, not to do with the Elmwood. So just to clarify in regards to your question about that, or sorry, your question about that, I apologize for that, but I did text the fire chief and he did respond to that. So that's just clarification for your purposes, Mr. Chair.
Very good. Thanks for getting that done in the expedient manner, Larry. Good. That makes everybody well aware of that fact. Okay, any other questions on the vouchers? Okay, if there is no other questions on the vouchers, I do have a motion here, moved by Bev Cutting, second by Carol Lawrence. Be it resolved that the Director of Finance Treasurer be authorized to pay the accounts presented as voucher number 6, 2015, of the Municipality of West Grey in the amount of $557,072.45. Any other questions on the motion? All in favor of the motion as presented? Opposed of any? That would carry. Okay. That's the first item of Carrie's report. What else do you have before us today being an exciting day, Carrie.
That's the only item I had on the report. The budget bylaw is coming up later in the meeting. I can stick around to speak to it then too if you want to, whichever way you want to deal with. Like I can, with the, when you're bringing up the bylaw if you want. Yeah.
Lindsay Hunsberger from Ward Upper Grove is here to give us the presentation of the West Grade Salary Grid Review and Pay Equity Draft Report, which we have talked about at different times. So, Lindsay, if you want to go to the mic, beside Carrie, whatever you'd like to do. Your PowerPoint this morning, I want to have to.
No, I'm going to go right from the packages I have for everybody. So.
All right, very good.
Yep.
Okay.
You're live.
Awesome. Good morning, Council. Thank you for having me. I do have a package prepared for everyone here today, and I will go through that. I have met with Council in the past on this matter, and this is the final objective report from Ward and Upgrove regarding the compensation review that we did. So I will go through the package. If you have any questions as we go along, please feel free to ask, and I will answer. And then I believe I've made a few recommendations in the report so that you can make some decisions today on how to move forward. And I've outlined some options. So some history. In fall of last year, Ward and Upgrove was contacted to conduct the compensation review. And Carrie Sharpen from my office met with council in the fall. And since then, we've been working with the municipality and the comparators that we've used in this, this compensation review to come up with recommendations. As a summary, if you look at your executive summary on the left-hand side of your package, that's what I'll be referring to here. Overall, when we started this project, we were looking to achieve three equities, and these were agreed to by council in the fall, and they were internal equity, and that is basically that positions within the organizations are compensated fairly and equitably. External equity, which is that we will compensate employees and positions fairly compared to the market. And then statutory pay equity, which is required by law. Okay? Does anyone have any questions on equities and what they require and what they are?
Any questions from anybody? We're okay so far? Good.
Okay, perfect. So because of that, we have achieved all three equities as a result of this project. So, so if the recommendations are accepted today, you will proceed with a compensation structure that achieves all three of those equities. So we started with a market study, and overall, the study indicated that West Grey was below market by 5.67% on average for the positions we were able to collect information for. I am still reading from the first page if you are wondering where I am here. Excuse me. Overall, you know, so that is a little bit significant as far as being below market. With the implementation of the new grid, there would be an annual cost of $50,000 to implement that grid. And that would be from January 1st to the end of this year if you chose to implement it as of January 1st, 2015. And that was with the help of Carrie. I don't know, Carrie, if you have any comments on that number?
No, that, I've reviewed it just to make sure that it was consistent with what I expected and with the benefits, the impact of benefits all in, the statutory payroll, it would get around that 50 mark.
Thanks, Carrie. So I will turn to the second page here so we can talk about the whole market study and what we did with regard to that. So we asked 23 municipalities to participate, and you will see on the first page of your attachments on the right-hand side a list of 20 municipalities that did agree to participate in the survey. We based those comparators, and we chose those comparators based on the criteria outlined in the report, so that they were all lower tier municipalities or neighboring municipalities or municipalities with similar services or populations and number of households. So you can see the full list in the first attachment on the right-hand side. The council approved the list of comparators as well as the overall pay philosophy that we would like to pay at median with the market. And what that means is that we will not pay above the market, we will not pay below the market, but we would like to pay at the market as a municipality in our total compensation structure. So what we did was we collected job rate data and we compared that to the current pay grid that we have at West Grey. And that's how we determined that overall we were 5.67% underpaid compared to market. Does anyone have any questions about the market data? You can see the full list of market data at the second page of the attachments on your right-hand side. And you will see all the positions listed there, how many comparators we were able to collect, what the job rate currently is for West Grey, and then what it was, what the comparator information stated. Yes, of course.
Councillor Don. Mike, please. Looks like there's a little gambling up here at the table going on as to who turns on the mic and who doesn't. Okay.
In your comparisons, the 5.67%, is that the bottom one on the comparator list? Would this 5.67 be below that market value? You know what I'm saying?
No, would you like to clarify that?
Is the maybe I can, I think I know what he's saying. The 5.67, is that 5.67 below median, or is that 5.67 below the lowest comparator?
Below median. Yeah.
So the one on the bottom of the list, the comparator on the bottom of the list,
Right.
are they below the median?
Yes, they would be below. So the median's calculated, basically it takes all of the comparator information. So for example, if we looked at the treasurer finance position, we had 13 comparators. It's going to pick the middle number, and that is the median. So out of all the comparators, it's going to choose the number that's in the middle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it hasn't answered my question, but I don't know how to phrase the question.
As compared to West Grey's, or you want to know the lowest value of all the comparators?
I would like to know if the lowest comparator that we're taking is going to want a pay increase when they see what we're increasing. So that now, 2 years from now, we are not in the middle of the plaque anymore. We're
Right.
still at the bottom.
Well, I will say that majority of municipalities do take the stance of paying at median. So potentially, if that municipality wanted to do a compensation review of their own, they would collect their own data, choose their own appropriate comparators, which would probably be a different list than this one, and then would determine potentially their median, or maybe they choose to pay below the median or above the median, depending on their pay philosophy. So it's hard to say what they would do in this situation, but certainly if they were looking at a compensation review and chose to pay at the median, you would see an increase there. Similarly though, if you were to look at maybe someone that was paying at the top and they chose to pay at the middle, you could see them potentially put in a freeze on wages. So it depends on what their pay philosophies are moving forward. And of course, all the comparators for a different municipality would be different potentially, depending on their geographic location and the size and who they decide to put into their market check.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Lindsay, just for clarification, our median, I think you were instructed 45 to 55%? Was that considered the
Median is right
median?
at 50%, if you will.
45. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions at this time? All right, Lindsay, please.
Okay, great. So you will see in that second attachment that I highlighted in green the positions that are compared to market more than 10% underpaid. I also highlighted in gray those positions that we didn't have enough comparator data for. And that may be because they didn't have the exact services in enough municipalities. We like to have at least 8 comparators to make it valid. It could be that the position wasn't structured the same, didn't have the same amount of direct reports. So there's many reasons why we may not have had enough information, and that is very common. If there's no other questions regarding to the market check, I will move on to the job evaluation. If you're comfortable with that. So with regards to the job evaluation, what we did was we started with the Warden Upper Grove proprietary system that we use, and then we customized that to West Grey. And in total, we evaluated each position on 13 job factors, and you will see the list of job factors there on page 3. So I will read those. We based it on formal education and training, experience, physical skill and effort, mental skill and effort, operations and program delivery responsibilities, managing business relationships, human resources, information resources, material resources, spending budgets and internal controls, physical working conditions, mental working conditions, and autonomy. And this complies with the Pay Equity Act's requirements, where we need to look at skill, responsibility, working conditions, and efforts to evaluate each position and ensure that we are paying people fairly and equitably. So the job evaluation system does 2 things. It ensures that we pay people internally equitably, as well as statutory equity is complied with if we use a neutral job system, a gender-neutral job system, which this one was. Okay. Does anyone have any questions with regards to the job evaluation system, the factors that we used? Okay, wonderful. So we scored each position out of 1,000 points, and we put that on the pay grid. So the next page is page 4, the proposed revised pay grids, and you can pull your 3rd attachment out. And what we did here with the proposed pay grid is we combined both the market data information that we collected as well as the job evaluation data, and ensured that and blended the 2 together to come up with an equitable pay grid. And so you will see, compared to the previous pay structure, there are some differences. There are 18 pay bands here, compared to the previous 15. There are also only 5 steps in the grid, and previously there were 6 to 8 steps depending on the position. So that is a difference as well. You also see a difference in where positions are placed on the grid as well. So there were some changes and shifts there. So where someone may have been in the same pay grid or pay band as someone else previously, those positions may have shifted on the grid. So you will see what we've come up with here, which is a new pay grid. And using the 2014 market information, we came up with a 2014 pay grid, which is the second, second section from the left. And then we indexed that another 1.5% for 2015. The reason we chose 1.5% is that is what was awarded to all the previous pay grid as of January 1st, 2015. So we indexed that up to be consistent with what was done for the previous grid. So that is the proposed pay grid that we have drafted for West Grey. Does anyone have any questions about that?
I don't see any now, Lindsay.
Okay. So as far as implementation is concerned, we've come up with 3 options for council to consider. The first one is an implementation date as effective January 1st. So this would be a retroactive adjustment that would need to be made. There are some benefits to that in that employees will get an increase more quickly as of January 1st. However, it is quite labor intensive for our treasurer and our payroll administrator to do that adjustment, as well as in the past, step movements have been made as of July 1st. So this option would be inconsistent with past movement. The second option is an implementation effective July 1st, 2015. The benefit to this is, of course, that it's consistent with grid movement in the past. Also, you will be saving 50% of the cost if you were to implement as July 1st and compared to January 1st. One possible disadvantage may be that employees may have thought they were going to get an increase as of January 1st or see the grid move, not necessarily get an increase, but see the grid move as of January 1st. So something to consider there. And I also propose a third option in which there are 2 phases to the increase, knowing that, you know, it is a significant increase. 50% could be implemented as of July 1st, and then the second 50% could be implemented as of January 1st. And of course, then you'd be cutting that cost of $50,000 into 1 quarter. Those are your 3 options for implementation that I've come up with. Any questions on those 3 options? Think so?
Okay. None now.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to page 6, and that's just regarding pay equity. And basically this page states that we've developed an internally equitable, gender-neutral pay system, and therefore it meets the statutory pay equity requirements. If there are any benefits that were not considered in this process that should have been for pay equity purposes, then we would need to evaluate how that would impact each of the positions. As of right now, we've worked based on job rate, and the reason why we did not have to look at benefits is because all of our comparators had a similar benefit package, were eligible for OMERS, and had overall similar benefits, so we didn't have to make any changes. We could simply look at that job rate. So if there are any benefits we need to consider, then we would do that when we do our final pay equity check. There are a few positions where a current incumbent is paid above the new pay grid. And so in the bottom paragraph, I have outlined 2 options moving forward for council to consider. Option 1 would be to red circle or freeze a current incumbent's pay until their pay is in line with the pay grid as the cost of living adjustments are awarded each year. The second option would be to provide a half cost of living adjustment each year until the incumbent is in line with the new pay grid. So those are your 2 options from a pay equity perspective. Okay. Any questions with regards to those options? Okay, great. So overall, just to summarize, we have achieved those 3 equities with the proposed pay grid here. We do recommend moving forward that Council does a compensation review every 3 to 5 years, depending on the current situation. So you will want to take a look at how your turnover is, what comparator information that you have available to you is saying, and decide when you want to complete the next compensation review. Why we recommend that 3 to 5 years is so that you don't fall behind market like you did since your last compensation review. So moving forward, I think that would be advantageous to the municipality to remain comparable with other municipalities. And finally, you're going to have to make decisions today, if you decide to, on what implementation option you would like to proceed with, if you choose to implement the pay grid that we recommend. And then moving forward, we will communicate that with staff. We will finalize the pay equity plan update, and you will also have to today determine whether or not you will provide half cost of living adjustments to those employees that are overpaid compared to the current grid right now. Okay? So those are the next steps as far as this project is concerned. So I open the floor to any questions and
All right, very good. Thanks very much, Lindsay. Very thorough job done. Very, shall we say, very, very good job of explaining the different
I hope so.
different aspects that all creep into this, and there are a few of them. Does any council member or any staff member have any questions for Lindsay at this time? We have been privy to see this a little earlier with a few modifications being made, and I think everybody's had a chance to digest it. I don't see any from anyone present. So Lindsay, the next steps, or you've given them, or?
we talk about the first one, which is whether or not this grid will be accepted by council. So you would need to make a decision first on that, and then make a decision on how you would like to proceed with implementation.
Okay. Is there any question to Lindsay about any of those next steps? Mr. CAO.
Mr. Chair, I would strongly encourage council to receive the report to begin with, and then a recommendation could be made on how they wish to implement the various options that Lindsay has very succinctly laid out in the report. So I believe the first step should probably be to receive the report.
Very good, thank you. So we would need that in a motion to receive. Oh, Councillor Bev has a question. Go ahead.
If this, it's implemented, it is put into place, the grid's set up this way now, if there is going to be a cost of living indexed built into the grid system, which we have done for the last number of years, we've put in a 1.5 or whatever the cost of living is to our employees, how is that grid going to change that we need to do another review in 3 years?
Right. So there's a few things that will impact that. One of them is that each municipality will be indexing their grid based on what they decide moving forward. So presumably if all municipalities use the exact same method to increase their grid, then you wouldn't see a lot of change. You hopefully, when you did another check, would continue to be at median with maybe a few adjustments, but generally speaking, you would be at median. So in your case, you chose to use the Canadian Consumer Price Index for December for this past year's increase of 1.5%. If you would have used Ontario's and used a different month, it may have been different. So that can change over time. The other thing that can change over time is the market in general as far as individual positions. So positions do increase sometimes in value over time, or credentials change, and so reevaluating and looking at the market and making sure that you're considering all those factors is important. The job evaluation system will do a little bit of that for you. So if a position is to change significantly, that position should be evaluated again and then placed on the grid accordingly. But overall, there are some market factors that will change over time. Sometimes specialized positions see significant increases. So those are the few ways where you would see a difference.
And can I just ask?
Yes. Yes, continue. Yep.
So, thank you for that. But also, there are a number of categories of employees or job titles that are lumped together.
Right.
How did those get lumped together in the same category?
Right. So it's really a band, so that's based on the points. So it's not necessarily, they weren't arbitrarily lumped together. After they were evaluated, then they were lumped together. So we'll pick on the biggest group here. So if you looked at band 8, all of those positions had a point value when the job evaluation system was done that was between 375 and 400. And so that's why they were combined together into that pay band and paid consistently.
All right. Anything else from any member here? Okay, so I think it's important, I'll read, I do have a motion here, moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by Doug Hutchison. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby receives the compensation review report dated March 27, 2015 by Ward and Up to Grove Consulting and Human Resources. Okay, let's deal with this motion. Councillor Cutting.
So, when receiving the report, what is the action that will be taken after this?
Well, you were reading my mind, but I was doing one thing at a time, but yeah, Larry, please.
Council receives the report to begin with, then council makes the decision on how they wish to move forward with that report based on the recommendations outlined by the consultant or going based on the recommendation that council decides to move forward with. So I would suggest that we receive the report to begin with to get it officially on the books, then go through the options one by one. Council would then give direction to staff on how they wish to move forward with the plan in order to ensure that those three equities are put in place for the municipality.
Councillor Beth.
So,
Mike, please.
So when can we set a time to do that? Because I know that we tend to be a little bit slow on some things. So is there another date that we intend to do that? Is there another council meeting or a special meeting, or how are we going to do this?
Taking one step at a time again. Yes, that's going to be decided among council. Okay. But I would like to, since we have a motion on the floor, I would like to deal with this first, that we receive the report. And then I'll open it, I'll get your question answered. Is that fair? Okay. So we do have it moved and seconded that we receive the report. Okay? Any other discussion on that motion in particular? Okay, all in favor of receiving the report from Ward and Up to Grove, opposed at any? That would carry. All right. So now to answer your question, Bev, I'm going to refer to Mr. CAO again. Larry, what would be an optimum time schedule?
It was hoped that we would be able to proceed with some direction today. The council would take the time today, during today's meeting, to discuss the options and lay out a plan on a go-forward basis. As has been indicated, has been discussed before, and I believe there was more or less a game plan laid out by council at the meetings on how they wish to move forward. So I would look to council for direction on how they wish to move forward with the implementation of the process. It's fairly well laid out in the report from Lindsay, and I think we'd be happy to go today if that's with the approval of council.
Okay. Any other questions about that? As far as a date of when to move that forward, was suggested. Go ahead, Larry.
I would hope, but just for the mere fact that you have the expertise in the room from Ms. Hunsberger, that if council wanted to discuss it presently and move forward, it is something that's currently on the floor. The report was received. The report is available for council, and if you want to do that direction today, even discuss it now and move forward, it would be appropriate to do that at this point in time.
Okay.
Or council could choose another day to do it, but I would encourage to sooner rather than later. Staff has been waiting for this for a few years.
Yes, and they've been waiting for a few years, and we've had it for a little while. So with a couple of minor little tweakings in between. We've saw the general gist of this. Is there anything that concerns council? I know that the options are probably the biggest stumbling block. Would that be fair to say, as to how you want to move forward with this? Recognizing, of course, option one does take a little bit of labor-intense, shall we say, review from both our treasurer and our payroll. Councillor Lawrence. Can you turn your mic on, please, Carol? Thank you.
Sorry about that. I'd like to place a motion on the floor that the pay grid become effective July the 1st, 2015, the increase or at least the implementation of the new pay grid. I believe July 1st is when we've historically made movement on the grid, and so I guess that would be 2, I guess, wouldn't it? Option 2.
So, okay, option 2 is the one you're looking at, Councillor Lawrence?
If you just want it by, the motion would be that we accept option 2, I guess, if that's what you want.
Councillor Lawrence, okay. Accept option 2, and Mr. Thompson is ready to second that motion. Councillor Cutting, question?
Do we not need to first decide what we're doing with the pay scales that are already above the grid?
That is one thing that could be in the motion.
Do you want that,
If, I think that probably we need to spell it out. So we may need an amendment. Councillor Lawrence, you're suggesting something?
Well, I'm just asking if you want that as part of that motion, or if you want 2 separate motions.
Well, that's it. Would it be better, Mr. CEO, in 2 separate motions, or should we amend the motion to recognize the grid going forward?
There's no use to try and amend the resolution unless you know it's going to move forward. So at this point in time, if you want to put it forward, then potentially with an amendment on how to move forward with the actual implementation phase of the agreement. Once you agree that phase, it was option 2 that you were suggesting, that the effective date be July 1st as has been in the past, then from there we'll ascertain how we wish to move forward once that is a decision of council.
All right, so we're going to do 2 different motions then? Very good. All right, duly moved and seconded. Then option 2 be the prescribed method, moving forward on July the 1st. Any other questions? Councillor Doug? No, I do have it moved and seconded. All right, all in favor of that motion? Opposed of any? That would carry. That option 2 is July the 1st. Okay. Now, we do have some options, as was presented, to some of the grid adjustments and how we wish to deal with that. I have to carry that for me to sign. So we're looking, Councillor Lawrence?
I'd place another motion on the floor that option 1 be approved, or I'm not sure the wording here, Larry, help me. This is the one where there's, right now it's overpayment, so I'm moving that option 1 be approved, but I think it needs a little few more words in there.
The option 1.
Option 1 is to red circle or freeze the incumbents' pay until their pay is in line with the pay grid, rather than going half a COLA per year.
Okay.
I think Larry had a couple more words he could put in my motion there, Mr. Chair.
Option 1, and this is at the bottom of page 6, correct,
Yes.
Councillor? Okay. So the option 1 would be to red circle or freeze current incumbents' pay until their pay is in line with the pay grid.
Okay, if you want to put the whole thing, then that's fine too. Those are the words.
I would go in further that each employee be slotted into the new pay grid based on their current salary. So if someone is at pay grade now, but they slot into level 2 on the new pay grid, that they would go to level 2, not automatically to pay grid. I believe that was one of the discussions we had at one point in time. So the ones that are going to be moving through the grid would not immediately move to the top of the band, but would move through the grid until they reach the top of the grid as well. So there's two items here. One is for people to be red circle and frozen until such time as the grid catches up with them, and further that people would move through the grid based on their current salary. Or current compensation, because some are on hourly, some are on salary.
So in other words, in other
Please.
words, they're moving, it's based on salary, not on if they're on, say, step 5 now, they don't go to step 5 on the new one. It's based on, right, on compensation. That's fine, that can be part of my motion.
Okay. Mr. Turner is writing feverishly here. Let him catch up.
For example, if person A was currently paid a job rate which is currently $20 an hour, the new grid has a job rate because it was 5% underpaid of $20.50 per hour. They would not automatically go to $20.50. If there was a step that was, say step 3 was $20 per hour, they would go there, and then when there's another increase, they would then go to the $20.50 per hour. Is that clear as mud? Am I trying to break it down as...
I see the mover and seconder nodding their head in approval. That's, okay. Mr. Thompson, yes. Okay. Councillor Doug, I'll take a question, yeah, this time. Go ahead, Larry.
Process we currently use with moving through the grid until you hit the pay grid is we have a performance appraisal done on each employee on an annual basis prior to the June 30th year. It's then based on that recommendation from the manager and from the senior manager on whether or not they would be entitled to make that move to the next level. Alternatively, we have traditionally done a COLA or a cost of living allowance effective January 1st of each year. When that is put in place, then the grid is modified to that, and then once again on June 30th, if you've got if you have a positive performance appraisal, then you're entitled to move to the next level of the grid. So that's how the process moves until they get the job rate. But everyone goes through the performance appraisal process on an annual basis.
Very good. Okay, Doug, understand that? All right. I do have a motion here. Moved by Councillor Lawrence, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves option 1 regarding pay equity being to red circle or freeze current incumbents' pay until their pay is in line with the pay grid based on their current salary as contained in the compensation review dated March 27, 2015 by Warden Updegrove Consulting and Human Resources. Does that address everyone's needs? Okay.
Just like to check with Larry, that's appropriate.
That wording is acceptable, yes.
Okay. Very good. See, and lengthy discussion. We want to make sure we get it right, and thank you all. But I will now call the vote. All in favor? Opposed of any? That would carry. Okay. Once again, I think we owe a great deal of thanks to Lindsay for your patience on behalf of council, taking those concerns back, and we had to get a couple things tweaked, and very good. If nothing else for Lindsay at this time. Thank you for a job well done, I think, and yes, taking forward your consideration. Next time, we maybe should tighten up that time frame between compensation reviews, and I know that next time it won't be maybe quite as big a shock to some people as to what we had done in the past. I guess from 2006 forward, we should take that under advisement, that time frame in particular. So, all right, very good. Thanks very much, Lindsay.
Yes, thank you, Council, for having me.
Yes, Mr. Clerk does suggest maybe we take a break at this time and we'll come back. I think unless, Carrie, without bringing you back, do you have anything else for us? Oh, you're going to stay around for the budget, yes. Yeah, okay, let's do that.
Just a reminder of the time.
Yes. Very good. All right, let's take a 7-minute break.
7 minutes.
Next, we have Director of Infrastructure and Public Works. Ken, you have a report for us today. Go ahead, please. Whenever. I guess the first one up is our wastewater reports.
Yes, we've Mark has sent out the wastewater reports, I believe, before the last week, early last week, and the only thing I have that concerns me is the Newstead sewage system, where there has to be a substantial amount of infiltration to have the amount of usage that's been used, percentage of the usage that's been used up in the system to where I believe the water is only at 13.5%, but the wastewater is up over 60. So there has to be a lot of. I think we're aware of some of it because of the road construction or street construction we done there last summer. That there is a lot of systems that are connected to the sewage system that shouldn't be. So, but on the residents' side of things in Newstead, that it is a very wet town. It's has a high water table, and there are a number of even overflowing wells there that run all over the place. So it's, but it is certainly a concern for future development if we're that high in with that amount used.
So if I might ad-lib a little bit, Ken, it might be safe to say that there are things that we can control and there's a bunch that we probably can't control.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Questions, Councilor Marshall?
So you're saying, Ken, that for every 1 gallon of water that we're using, 4 gallons are going into the sewage system?
They generally should be around the same, Don, the water and the sewer. Like, and it's, as you can see by the figures there, it's way out of whack on the sanitary. So there's certainly things connected to the sanitary that shouldn't be.
So should we be smoking the system?
That would be a way of finding out exactly what is hooked on. I know when we done the William Street, there did correct some of it, but there's more than William Street in Newstead. It's all over Newstead. So.
Pump at the sewage plant downtown, the lift station is running. A lot of money being put through their hydro. So it'd be a lot cheaper to smoke it and see where the problems are. Paying for hydro in the long run.
Certainly be a way of finding out exactly what's connected, yes.
So to move along then, Councillor, you'd be in favor of maybe giving direction and with council's approval that maybe Ken get some information on what something like that would cost to do that bit of work? Okay, Ken's nodding his head yes. I don't see anybody thinking that's a bad idea. Doug, please, yep. Mike, please, Doug Trier.
The storm sewers don't run into the sewage treatment center, right? Storm sewers are run separately.
No, the storm sewers, no, they don't run into the sewage, no.
Right, okay. That's the question.
Or they're not supposed to.
All right, good discussion, and we do have some direction on that item. Good, thanks, Ken. Next on the Durham system.
Yes, council wanted an update just on the cost of what the extreme cold weather has been, what impact it's had on the Durham water system, and I did go through some of the invoices and the timesheets and come up with this. That's just as of March 21st. It's still ongoing. There are still a number of houses that are, or residents that are connected with their neighbor or whatever, and they're gradually going off, but there's still going to be some extra time here yet before the system is completely thawed out. So.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Ken on that item of business? Yeah, the frost isn't out of the ground just yet. All right, next, Ken.
The Durham sewage system, we had some trouble in the plant there where the clarifiers froze up and caused some damage to the system, the rails and the gears, and we had to get a contractor in to fix them. And then there's certainly a huge cost for we had to thaw out the system before we could fix it. So that's going to be an extra cost too. I haven't got the invoice from the contractor, but I know there was about $6,000 worth of propane we had to purchase just to get the system thawed out. So and there was considerable damage done to the rails and the gears. So.
Councillor Lawrence.
Is this something that should have been apparent to American Water, that this was happening before it got to the point that it did all this damage? And like if they'd have brought in the propane earlier, would it perhaps have not caused the damage from it freezing?
That's quite possible, Carol, but this is the first time it's ever happened that we're aware of.
Yeah,
Like
but they're
even
there
last-
all the time, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I would have thought they might have observed that it was beginning to freeze and, you know, taken some action quicker than they did.
Yeah, Rob, to go along with that.
Obviously, this area was never heated, and the way the winters are we looking at possibly putting a heating system into this is what we're leaning towards?
Well, I think we should have a look at it and come up with something because
Getting worse than the last 2 years, so I think it's maybe something we should be looking at, is heating that part of the facility.
Well, certainly a little bit of heat on might have solved the problem, that's for sure. Ken, are they there every day or every second day? Give us an idea.
American Water's there every day, 24-hour on call, 7 days a week.
Okay, I'll take Bev first and then Carol, please.
If there was agreement that there could have been maybe some oversight by American Water, is there the opportunity to send them half the bill of the cost?
Yeah, we'd have to certainly investigate to see, being that it is the first time that it's froze, whether they were liable or not. We'd have to do some more investigation into the problem and just send them a bill. I don't know how that, I'll have to get into their contract too and see if there's something in there that.
I agree. It's the first.
Well, that's basically what I was going to say. I wasn't advocating sending them a bill, but I think there needs to be some discussion with American Water as to why were they not cognizant that this was happening. I think it's,
Okay.
yeah.
And
I
along
mean,
the-
if a
and-
puddle starts to freeze, you start to see the water in it, you know, so if in the clarifier, surely to goodness, they saw some ice forming.
And has it already been suggested, how do we move forward, how do we address this situation?
Well, so it doesn't happen again, but.
Exactly. Okay. Councillor Don.
These clarifiers are inside the building, correct, Ken?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, so they would visually inspect them every time they walk by, see that ice forming on top and a lot of change very slowly around the top and underneath. So they should have seen that coming.
Yep.
Okay, Ken's nodding his head, he's got that. Anything else for us today, Ken?
That's all I have at this time, thanks.
Okay, and any other questions for Ken at this time? Doug?
This question, I think, mentioned previous report about street sweepers. Street sweeping, that maybe it was Steve mentioned, that we are street sweeping. Just wondering, when they street sweep, do they do the boulevards when they street sweep? Because I just see a lot of sand on the boulevards. I'm just wondering if they're in the process or...
Yes, they'll push that down with the trackless. There's sweepers on the sidewalk machines too, and they'll get up on the boulevard and push it onto the, over the curb, and then the street sweeper will pick that up.
All right, so that's taking place now then, is it, Ken?
Yes, it is, yeah.
And it'll take a while to get around everywhere. There's even a little snowbank you have to go around still, so. Very good, okay. That all then, Ken?
That's all I have, yes.
Thank you very much. All right, moving along. I think next we have the clerk's report. Mr. Turner, what do you have for us today?
Yeah, the first item regards the Town of Aurora Council resolution regarding what's called the strategic lawsuits against public participation, Bill 52. It's been seen as large corporations, developers have been countersuing individuals that have commenced lawsuits for whatever actions in an attempt to silence them, because basically they have deep pockets. So this would, in a lot of ways, minimize that. On the flip side, you know, the municipality itself is aware of what I would deem as sometimes nuisance lawsuits or legal action taken against the municipality, and hopefully this Bill 52, if passed, would not encourage that even further. It appears, reading the material, there are mechanisms in place to, you know, that it wouldn't become a bigger issue. So that's the only downside I could see of this bill if it's passed, but again, it seems like there are mechanisms that would be in place to filter out nuisance lawsuits.
All right. Questions to Mark about any of that item? Mark does have a resolution, if we are so inclined to support this. If anybody is wishing to move this, to put it on the floor for some further discussion, we can do that. You nod your head. Send it that way. Certainly a little bit of extra investigation into this may not hurt, as far as whether it goes through or not, we'll see. Okay, moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Hutchison. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby supports the Town of Aurora Council resolution in support of proposed Bill 52, the Protection of Public Participation Act, commonly referred to anti-SLAPP, strategic lawsuits against public participation legislation. And further that a supporting letter be forwarded to the Premier of Ontario, local MPPs, and the Town of Aurora. Any other discussion on the motion? All in favor of that motion? Opposed of any? That would carry. Okay, Mark, we'll pass that along. And next, we have an item from the Multi-Municipal Wind Turbine Working Group.
So council did get a copy of basically an initial letter from the Multi-Municipal Wind Turbine Working Group, and then a response to that by an association for wind power, and then again a second response to their letter from the Multi-Municipal Wind Turbine Working Group concerning the Multi-Municipal Wind Turbine Working Group's request for an objective third-party cost-benefit analysis to be completed before any further procurement of wind or solar capacity. So that is for council's consideration. I do have a motion if council wishes to support it.
All right. So what the Municipal Wind Turbine Group, Mark has laid out what they wish to do, involve a third party, and to somehow, some way make sense of it all. All right. Have a motion moved by Carol Lawrence, seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby supports the letter dated January the 21st, 2015 from the Multi-Municipal Wind Turbine Working Group requesting an objective third-party cost-benefit analysis to be completed before there is any further procurement of wind or solar capability. And further that a supporting letter be forwarded to the Minister of Energy, Independent Electrical System Operator, Auditor General of Ontario, local MPPs, and the Multi-Municipal Wind Turbine Working Group. So this letter of support goes part and parcel with that. Has been moved and seconded. Any other discussion on the motion? All in favor? Opposed of any? That would carry. All right. Very good. Let me get back to my page here. Okay, Mark says he has nothing further. Any questions for Mark at this time? All right, thanks very much, Mark. Going forward, I believe the next item on our agenda is the CAO's report. Welcome again, Larry. What do you have for us this morning?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The first item I have on my report is the resignation of CBO Brian Marcel, effective April 10th, 2015. Brian has extended his gratitude to council for their support during his tenure, and that he will be he has resigned effective this Friday. So just want to make council aware of it, and I encourage council to receive his resignation with regret.
It is regrettable. Brian has served the municipality well. I know that the building community did like dealing with Brian, but unfortunately, some things move on in life. So we wish Brian well in the future. I have it moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by Doug Hutchison. Be it resolved that the Council of Municipality of West Grey hereby accepts with regrets resignation of Brian Marcel, West Grey Director of Building Services / CBO, effective April the 10th, 2015. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed of any? That would carry. Okay, and Larry, there is another part of this report. Go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. I have 3 items to my report. The second item is regarding an update of the website. There's been much discussion at the Economic Development table in regards to updating the business or industrial portion of our website. To move forward, we looked at several options, and our current our current website provider has suggested that we come up with use a new module, which would allow it to be an electronic version of the business directory for our website. Our new co-op student just started this morning, and she's been tasked with doing that. We have her for the next 3 weeks. Her name is Rebecca Adair, and when council wants to take a break or at the end of the meeting, please say welcome Rebecca. She's sitting in the general office area. She's going to put together an electronic version of our business directory and move forward and update that section a little bit. The cost of that's approximately $500 for that module plus tax, which is a standard fee for modules on a website. And in discussions with the chair of the Economic Development Committee, Chair Thompson agreed that it would be a benefit to his committee and that they are going to front the bill for that out of their budget. So I put that for council's information, Mr. Chair.
Any questions to Mr. CAO Larry? Councillor Cutting.
Just a comment. I did speak to her at break this morning, and she is one of West Grey's finest. She lives in Glenelg.
I was going to bring that forward. Absolutely agree with you 100%. We do enjoy, shall we say, employing locally. So that's another testament that we do have some very good young people coming along that can fill in on these roles quite admirably. And we do look forward to her report and her job being a success, and see where that goes with the business directory, something that the Economic Development Committee has requested. Very.
Sorry, can I just ask a question about the business directory?
Can direct it towards Larry or the Chairman of Economic Development?
Or economic.
Go ahead.
The business directory, has there been a call put out to businesses to get involved and be added to this business directory? Or is this the old business directory that's going on?
Our intent is to update the business directory to accommodate all of the current and new businesses that have gone on in the community. I know that through the BIA and through the different committees that we sit on, that information has gone out, and one of Rebecca's tasks will be to contact new businesses within the community and ask whether they would be willing to go on that. If you're looking for the style, Blue Mountains has a style of business directory which allows them to go on and edit themselves. We've chosen to let them contact us, and then we would vet it and work with them to ensure what they would like to get on our website is acceptable in our format and also is positive for their business.
I know what we don't link.
That is correct.
I'm going to take Chairman Rob first.
Just to add to that, on the Durham Rec Committee, a couple of the ladies there have already started because they're doing the Spring Bazaar again. So they've already started a list, and when they did obtain the list here, there was some places weren't in business, and so they've done a lot of legwork already. So that'll be all supplied. So
I can, anything from the chair, just promote that people need to call in and get their name on this list, because the electronic version, I think, from an economic point of view, we realize that's crucial, and that's kind of what we want to go forward first. So not putting words in the chairman's mouth, but yes. Councillor Carroll.
Thanks. I just, maybe further to what Bev was saying, because that last business directory was really just Durham. It certainly didn't take in all of West Grey, and I'm just wondering how those people out there, the rest of them that weren't in the first one, are we figuring that they're just going to look at the website, or is there some way we're going to because that should include all of the businesses in West Grey, not just Durham.
Your Worship, that comment was heard loud and clear by staff, and we are going to encourage Rebecca to contact businesses throughout West Grey, not just in the urban centres, but throughout West Grey as a whole. Get the message out there, and word of mouth travels the best. So if you're out there and you do have a business, please feel free to contact us here at the office, and we'll ensure that we'll ensure that you're placed on the new business directory. And the flexibility of having an electronic directory is that we can keep it up to date. So that's the additional benefit to this, but it's the intent to have West Grey business directory on the website, not just one urban center.
Bev had her hand up first. Doug?
Would the Economic Development Committee consider placing maybe an article in the West Grey Progress to really encourage people to come forward? Because there is a lack of sometimes knowledge about what's going on and how to implement these things, and then people's nose gets out of joint when they don't get on, and it would be, and I think if you contacted John McPhee and did it as a interest article, there may not be a cost. If it's an ad, then there is, but as an interest article, he may be quite willing to do an article with appropriate contact numbers, et cetera.
That may be something that I know Larry's been writing, and follow up on that. Go ahead, Larry.
I'm sure not only with the West Bay Progress, but the three sources of advertising we currently have now. This is being broadcast and goes out on the internet through Wightman's. We also have two representatives from the press here. We hope that they'd pick up on it and get an information out to our members of the public as well, especially the business community, who's always looking for ways to promote their business. And if there's any way we can assist that by getting them on our business directory, which is available on the web, I believe it's a win-win for both.
Something like that, but that would be a good place. A lot of people drive by there, people see it, tell somebody else.
I was thinking exactly the same thing, not knowing when the sign's going to be operational, and recognizing that 3-week span, hopefully with our co-op student might be able to make that all work. But the other thing is there's a paper to the east of us that a lot of people in that east side of Glenelg reach and read, that I'm not sure if they get all the information. So the one out of Fletcher and Advance maybe need a little attention to that. Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, just to add to that, John McPhee sits on the chamber, and we did discuss that along with the lady from the Confederate. So that was discussed and bring it forward to do some advertising, and it's not only economic development, but Chamber of Commerce is quite adamant about upgrading our website. So it's being spread out there, but yeah, we'll be running ads in the papers and getting that information to the people.
Okay, good. Larry, you had one more item, or?
I did.
Just 1 second. Okay, go ahead, Doug.
Sorry, I'd like you to move on.
No, not yet.
Okay, go ahead.
Just the last item I have in my report was already mentioned this morning by the Chair of Economic Development, and that's the job fair coming up on April the 16th. That's a Thursday, between the hours of 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. At the Durham Community Center. We're encouraging all the interested folks to attend that. We've already got 10 businesses from West Grey that are interested in participating, including the municipality itself will have a booth at the event as well. If you do have an opportunity, I would encourage you to drop by and see what it's all about, and add your support to the businesses and employment community within West Grey. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Very good. Doug, you have a question? Go ahead. Doug, your mic, please.
At the Economic Development Workshop, there was a mention about Info Canada maybe being some help in terms of the directory. And apparently they have a database already of businesses, but I'm not sure how up to date, how current it would be, but it might be another source to get some information. It's called infocanada.ca is what it's called. And then the other question I had, or comment, was the Economic Development Committee. We talked a little bit about updating our website, not only for the business directory, but also for making it more user-friendly for businesses that we're wanting to look into investing in West Grey, right? So that they have maybe a user-friendly, quick way of getting some information without necessarily contacting anybody to begin with, but then giving some contact names also, right? So that's part of what we're going towards. Good.
That is correct, Mr. Chair, through you, Councillor Hutchison. Yes, we're working on updating all the information that we currently have to make it up to date. We have information that's a little outdated, and we're working with our co-suppliers in the community, Ontario Hydro, West Stereo, Union Gas, to get as updated information as we possibly can for businesses to be able to come in and at least get some rudimentary information in the area in regards to the potential for prices for lots and cost of electricity and cost of utilities as well. So we're working on that to get that information out, and we obviously will be monitoring that to ensure that it stays current as well.
Thank you. Mr. Adams, okay, good. Anything else for us today, Larry?
No, Mr. Chair, I believe that covers it all. Thank you.
Thank you. I have one question, and it pertains to the first item of business, that last sentence in there. Just maybe expand on what is being done regarding Mr. Marcel's resignation and business going forward.
Certainly, there will be no, it'll be seamless, the transition. We currently have an agreement with both Nelson Dolly and with Grey Highlands Building Department to come in and provide building, and the other issuance of building permits will still continue on, inspections will still come on, environmental compliance will still come on, so it should be a seamless transition with the resignation of our CBO to ensure that the services for the patrons of West Grey are covered.
Okay, good explanation. All right, everybody's, no more questions for that? No questions for Larry? All right. We are down, I think, at this time to bylaws. And we do have 4 bylaws here we wish to deal with. One might take a little longer than the other one. Okay. Bylaws. First bylaw. It is moved by Doug Hutchison, second by Rob Thompson. Be resolved that bylaw number 17, 2015, being a bylaw to enter into a contract agreement with Cheryl Roberts for the provision of K-9 control officer services for the municipality of West Grey, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CAO deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation and engrossed in the bylaw book. Okay. Due to changes to staff, we need a new K-9 control officer. And this person has been doing some work for the municipality, and we were told at the committee of the whole that doing a very good job. Councillor Cutting, please.
How do we get this word out to the public? Because Rick Parker has, that's the name known and the number known, so how do we?
Mark, go ahead.
Well, basically, because of medical reasons, Mr. Parker has been unable to perform his duties since August of last year. So Ms. Roberts has been doing the K-9 control duties since then, and through the authority of the CO to hire a fire staff, the CO did hire Ms. Roberts. And this is now ratifying it if it's approved, because Mr. Parker cannot return to his duties. So in essence, her name is on the website. She is the contact person. It has been on since she started, basically. So it should be known that she is the contact person for K9.
So, is it on for example, at home, I can't get on the website for West Gray, and certainly I found a dog last October and I phoned Rick. So, okay, so his number, or her number's on the website, but, did we put it out in the newsletter? Change of,
That it said change of, but just, we usually have the contact numbers on the newsletter, and it was just updated. I don't think it said change to, but it was just updated, K9 control.
Okay.
and will Mr. Parker redirect?
I assume he'll redirect to Ms. Roberts, who he knows, or to the municipality in general.
Okay.
Yep, very good, okay. All right, I'm sorry, Councillor Marshall.
I just wondered into our hiring policies if this job was advertised, Larry, or?
This was an individual recommended to us to fill it. She was doing it in other communities as well. Was it advertised, or did we just extended the contract, made it formal at this point in time? We brought it to the council and said that the service has been really well. We want to get it formalized, and that's how it proceeded.
For everybody up there.
Right, which is why we brought it to council and gave the information, and that's how we proceeded based on the conversation we had with council. So.
Yearly position.
There's a no clause for both parties, that's correct.
It's basically a part-time position that's available on call.
Contract, right? Contract on personal, or on call, or as needed.
Okay, we do have a motion in front of us, moved and seconded. About Ms. Roberts, all in favor of the motion? Opposed of any? That would carry. All righty. Thank you, Mark. Okay, the second bylaw has been moved by Bev Cutting, seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that bylaw number 18/2015 being a bylaw to adopt the estimates of revenue and expenditures for the year 2015 budget bylaw be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and CAO/deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. All right. So concerning budget, everybody has had a copy of the budget. In fact, if I might carry maybe about 4 different copies of the budget. And it has been an onerous task this year, recognizing certain things that have happened in the province, not only the province of Ontario, but also West Gray, as to where our Grey County and where our budget is in West Gray. But Carrie, maybe you have a few little highlights that maybe you would like to brief the committee on, and just tell us how we arrived at this.
So our budget represents 12.65% increase in our budget. We're $980,000, just over $980,000. Over half of that, we have lost provincial revenue, the OMPF revenue of $348,000, which is about 4.5%. Our insurance increase plus the transfer to an insurance reserve, because we increased our deductible, is just over $172,000, so that's another 2.25%. So that's 521,000 and change, or 6.7% of our increase just in those two items. Then departmentally, there's a few small increases. Planning, we're anticipating an OMB hearing, so it was up. The smart transit, our share was up based on ridership and their budget increase. The police budget was up a bit there. So then when we come down to it, and we did also transfer prior year surplus, you'll see on your budget a deficit of just over 500,000. That was the surplus from the prior years that we're carrying forward, and we need to start with that amount. We discussed that at the last committee of the whole meeting, and so that's the budget that you see there, is starting with that prior year surplus, and that we will use to help offset or stabilize the revenue stream, because next year we'll be losing another 330,000 of OMPF funding right off the start. So we'll trying to mitigate some of that. When it comes down overall, the education rates are not, they've released draft rates at this point. So using those draft education rates, the county has decreased their budget. It works out to just over 5% reduction for us. And with the school boards in there, we get down to approximately 3.5% increase on an average assessed home that is going up 2.64%. That's the average increase for a residential property in West Grey, based on the impact numbers. So that would be potentially around $41 per 100,000 of assessment value on a residential property.
Okay. Very good explanation of where the increases came from, Carrie. And as Carrie pointed out, when you start looking at that number of 12.6% or whatever, to where we've come from and gone to, I guess I see some heads nodding around here. This was a very onerous task. I'll be quite honest with you, from my point, I think it was the toughest budget I've been in on since I've been here. And going forward, we know what some of the costs are going to be already next year. And for that reason, council is well aware of the surplus that has come from the county due to their budget, and we did hold some of that back, as we all know, for knowing that we are going to lose some UMP funding next year also. And so I think that's very prudent on the council and their decisions, and also on staff for bringing that forward. A lot of staff budgets have taken quite a little hit this year, and they know that. And going forward, we will have to manage fiscally what we can, and there will be some more tough decisions made in another year. So, not want to be the bearer of bad news, but between legal and UMP funding and insurance, those are the three main reasons. So, I've said my little spiel. Anybody else have any question for Carrie? And thank you for that explanation, Carrie. Councillor Hutchison.
Under general fund revenues, I'm just curious about the negative numbers, and part of it's maybe my not understanding. Why do they show up as negative numbers there?
It's in accounting, their credits, expenses are debits. It's just, just accounting terminology. So it shows as our revenue show as negative numbers in there, and reducing our expenditure, our bottom line expenses.
That's why they always said hire a good accountant, Doug.
I'm a little concerned when I see negative numbers, that's all.
All right, Councillor Marshall.
Just do the numbers at the first one more time, Carrie. The West Gray's tax increase was for our...
The budget increase?
Budget
the
increase.
Dollar or percentage?
Percentage?
12.65.
That was West Gray.
West Gray share.
5.
Yeah.
And then the county and the education brought it down to...
About 3.5.
Okay. So I guess
Okay.
going forward.
Okay.
sorry, I
Yep,
guess
yep.
going forward for next year's proposed budget, what I see happening is the 330,000 from funding coming out again. The police station, Hanover Police Station, is going to want another 70,000 if that goes ahead for borrowing. The Hanover West Gray agreement, if the OMB hearing is, like, if that happens the way it probably will, there's probably another $2 to $3 million in that project. We got a paving job down the south end of West Gray that's going to cost us $25,000 for 4 years. Water and sewer rates are going up. Source water protection is just nibbling on what they're proposing to lay on us. And the Accessibility Act, and probably a lot more items on there that are spending. So we're probably looking at another 12.65 next year. Just to throw it out there with the service reviews and all that are going to be happening here shortly. We have to really, I think we have to really bear down and try and get, and we can't control the province's spending, but I think we can control ours. And some of this in this year's budget is our spending. That we put it out there when a judge makes a ruling, or not a judge, a judge, not just either. When the police or the fire arbitrator makes a decision, and we use the expression, the ability to pay to our ratepayers. We can't control what the judge rules or the arbitrator rules on that, but we can control our costs. I think we have to do not a better job, but just we have to do a job to control our spending.
Okay, thanks, Don, and it is a constant moving target, no doubt about that. And some of those things are in stone that we know that are coming, and some of those are, depending on what happens between now and next year's budget, they may and may not happen. So, yep, and it's all, budget time is always a moving target, depending on what figures we're dealing with at the time. But Councillor Lawrence.
Well, I just want to say I think we're all aware of everything that Don has brought forward, and that's why we've had discussions, and that's why we decided to move forward with a service review to do the best we can to find savings and efficiencies. And I hope it's not all doom and gloom like Councillor Marshall has stated there, but certainly Council is doing their best to not only provide the services that people require, but to do it in an expeditious manner and as less expensive, I suppose, as we can. And I think this year, I think we've done exceptionally well. It was a really tough year. And just to bottom line, Carrie, just to confirm, bottom line for the ratepayer, their residential rate is a 3.5% increase, right?
If their assessment increased the average, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good discussion. We have it in front of us. We have a mover and seconder to accept the budget. All in favor of that motion? Opposed of any? That would carry. Once again, Ms. Mighton, our treasurer, thank you very much on behalf of people of West Gray, on behalf of the councillors. Quite a job, and I know, Carrie, you do come here early and you do stay late quite often, and especially when it is budget time, we know that. So thank you for all your hard efforts. And going forward, we can look for positive things to happen in the future to try to hold the line, put it that way. Okay? All right. The next bylaw we have in front of us has been moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by Doug Hutchison. Be it resolved that bylaw number 19, 2015, being a bylaw to establish development charges, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and CAO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, be engrossed in the bylaw book. And Mark would like to present something else along with that. Go ahead, Mark.
I assume council may want some changes to this bylaw based on previous discussions at the committee of the whole. You'll note in Schedule A, though, that the initial maximum development charge that was previously listed at $5,113 has been reduced to $4,851 and change, and that's due to the elimination of the the proposed renovations of the Ayton washroom. And you also note that as of right now, the non-residential charge is included in Schedule A, and I believe there was probably a movement from council to eliminate that as has not been charged in the past. So those are the 2 points to consider in this bylaw, whether or not you charge the maximum, and it seemed to be that there wasn't much direction from council to charge the maximum at this point, but I guess that's the direction for the bylaw to amend as council deems appropriate.
Okay? So, with that, yeah, okay. Okay, we'll open this up for discussion, okay? All right, Councillor Lawrence first.
Well, I was going to put a motion on the floor, but if you want discussion first, usually we have a motion and then we discuss.
Well, I do have the motion. Are you proposing to make an amendment to the motion?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
The motion you read is to accept this. Then I'm going to move an amendment, if I might, Mr. Chair, that the development charges for, excuse me, residential be held at the current rate of $3,250 for the duration of this study. I think it's a 5-year. And further, that there be no development charges on commercial or non-residential, I guess. Is that the word? We don't right now, and we talked about not doing it in the future. Non-residential.
Okay, Councillor Lawrence has said that they the amended motion. I think if it's passed as amended and it's noted in the minutes, if it's passed as amended, okay? If council is agreeable to that, yes, it has been proposed an amendment to the motion.
What's that?
All right, that the 3250 be carried on next 5 years. Other discussion upon that? Other thoughts, topics? Go ahead, Mr. Thompson.
Yeah, I do agree with what Councillor Lawrence is saying, and we move forward with that set fee.
$3,250 for the 5-year duration.
Yes, the way I understand it, for the 5-year duration without moving it.
Yes.
Okay. And I'll throw one out there just from a chair's perspective, and I'm not prepared to make it a motion, but it was talked about to increase the development charges to approximately $3,500 for the 5 years, recognizing that represents about a cost of living increase of about 1.5% a year for 5 years, from the last 5 to now. I know. We're in discussion. Okay, Councillor Robb.
Just to add to that, I think during our public meeting, though, that it was indicated that we are limited, especially in Durham, the amount of building lots available now. So, I mean, I think they counted 5 in the municipality itself, or in Durham itself, that what's in the rule and so on and so forth. And I think with the other increases we're looking at, I just don't feel that we should be increasing the development charges.
Okay, so we have an amendment to the motion brought forward to the resolution. All right. Moved, seconded, as amended. Councillor Marshall.
I guess I'll throw it out there that, do we want to handcuff ourselves for 5 years?
Depends whether my amendment passes or not. Then you have an opportunity to change it if it doesn't pass.
maybe, I don't disagree with that, but if there's something, if things change in the big picture, then does this handcuff us to 5 years that we can't lower it or raise it?
I was going to say, I guess we would have to bring it back. Then how lengthy a process that would be, I'm not sure of that. Would we have to?
My understanding, you would have to amend the study if you come back and look at a different rate, unless you incorporate it in within this 5-year bylaw itself. But you'd have to go back and amend the bylaw to amend the rate. I know the city of Owen Sound had done that in the previous development charges bylaw.
Okay. Clarification clear on that, Don? Pardon me? Well, the bottom line would have to come back to amend the bylaw. So Councillor Doug first and then Bev.
Sort of on the same wavelength as Don in that, you know, it would be nice to be able to revisit this maybe on a yearly basis or biannual, or every second year or so, just because some of the things that came out in the study, like the population, I thought was a little off in terms of this population they used. And some of the long-term projects was even questioned by some of our public about, is this money really going to be used in these long-term projects like the police station, library, et cetera, or is something else going to come out of that? You know, like as far as locking ourselves in 5 years, maybe it would be nice to be able to revisit it in a period of time and do it that way. So if it needs an amendment, then I'd be in agreement in that.
Well, we do have it amended, and first of all, we do have a motion on the floor, which we're having this nice little discussion around, but it has been already amended, so we're not going to amend it again, just yet. Councillor Lawrence.
I have a question of Councillor Hutchison. Are you referring to amendments? Are you, and your comments, you were referring that when we lower? Is that what you're saying, flexibility to lower the development charges? Because you mentioned some projects that don't get done. Or are you talking about looking at it to increase it over the 5 years?
I'm looking more in terms of maybe able to increase it. Yeah, I don't see us lowering it, but just that, well, right now it's recommending almost 5,000 and we're saying 32 something. So I'm saying flexibility to increase it if we need to. I don't see it as lowering right now, but I mean, if we had to, I guess we could, but I wasn't really thinking in terms of lowering it.
I would just emphasize again that you will have to revisit the study. You will have to hire the consultant. The consultant will have to do an analysis of what's been done whenever you decide to look at amending it and what is projected now to be done in the future. Yes, this is a projection of what is to be done. I think council probably realizes there are certain capital projects that weren't identified that were probably done the last 5 years as well. So it's a projection, and that the 5-year, that'll be revisited. But yeah, there will be definitely work, definitely money involved with changing it. Even if you go for a 5-year period now, if you decide 2 years from now you want to change, council wants to revisit, you can do that. You can nullify this bylaw at any time, in essence.
All right, good explanation, Mark. Thank you. Councillor Larry? Sorry, CAO. You want to be a councillor? You want to be a councillor now?
Thank you very much for the
CAO
demotion,
Larry.
Mr. Chair. I just feel it's incumbent upon you as your CAO to remind council that we are under excessive pressure in our budget. It was mentioned during the budget deliberation during the last set. You have an asset management plan that was put in front of you last year with approximately $130 million deficit in our asset management program. This is one way of potentially raising revenue without putting it on the tax base. And I would just caution council that we are facing additional pressures going forward, and that by limiting the increase at this point in time to a level which, by the way, you set that level during of the last time at 3250. That is not what the report suggested. It was lowered from what it was suggested during the last one. This one supports an increase up to 4851. Council makes the decision to establish it and set it at where they feel it's prudent. And I just want to caution council that we'll be coming back for more money, just to let you know. And this is one way of paying for development on a go-forward basis, but and it's only for future use is based on expansion. So this is the one way we have of raising funds, and I just want to remind council of that fact.
Okay, thanks, Larry. I know you don't want to be a counselor, sorry about that. But, Councillor Carroll.
Thank you. Well, I guess I don't agree with Larry on this. I think if you look at the listing of our neighbors, we're still going to be the highest. And we want to attract building here. We don't want to discourage developers from building here. And I don't know that we want to be raising, you're saying it's a way of raising more money, but for the things that we have in here, I don't think there should be any more on development charges. Like, do we want to be the highest in the middle of the donut here and everybody else either none or lower than us? Like, we need to be in the ballpark. And we do want to encourage development. And I mean, with development, of course, comes more assessment and more taxes. So you are, like, to balance it, you're getting more in on taxes. So anyway, I'll see what happens with the amendment. But,
Okay, thanks for that. And we do know that some urban centers in other municipalities, our development charges are quite a bit higher than in West Grey. Ours are right across the board, so we don't have a rural urban split. So, Councillor Bev.
Sorry I wasn't present at the discussion of this last week. I do have a question. In industrial development, is there an industrial increase in development charges? Because that is some of the questions that we're talking about being open for business and wanting to promote that, but there are some industrial businesses and et cetera that we do not promote here. We are an unwilling host, and I would like to sort of just clarify where we are with industrial development charges.
Okay, thanks, Bev. I'm going to refer to Mark and/or Carrier here as to how those are looked after.
I'll give it a chance here. So obviously, the amending resolution states that there will be no non-residential charge for industrial commercial. The question, which you may be alluding to regarding wind turbines, was posed to the consultant at the last meeting, and it was his professional opinion that development charges for wind turbines cannot be justified. That was his opinion, professional opinion.
Okay. Carrie, anything to add to that? And I know we've looked at, yes, I mean, there is special rules for industrial wind turbines within the Green Energy Act as to how they are taxed. Okay, so I don't think we can afford to either look at changing that, because it does come from the province. Okay, Councillor Hutchison.
We're looking at this Schedule A.
Mike, Doug, please.
Looking at Schedule A under the development charge per non-residential square foot, so,
Sorry? Let Mark talk to that.
The amending motion would delete all those charges. There would be no charge at all.
we're going to delete that.
And then, of course, the percentages, if it's reduced to $32.50, those percentage dollars will decrease accordingly in the ratio for each of those services.
Okay. Very good. Good discussion. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor with a, what do we have, with an amendment? As amended? Okay. Reread the motion, okay? Moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Doug Hutchison, be it resolved that the bylaw number 19, 2015, being a bylaw to establish development charges, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, as amended. Okay? Passed and numbered, sorry, passed as amended, sorry. Passed as amended right there. Okay? Let's start halfway through here. Be now read first, second, and third time passed as amended and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and CAO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Changes will be noted in the minute to reflect as amended.
But we have to vote on the amendment,
Well, we put as amended in here.
So the amendment that will be recorded in the minutes is that there will be no non-residential charge, and the residential charge will be $3,250. So the Schedule A will be changed to reflect that.
Okay?
Point of order. Was there not a resolution on the floor that had an amendment put to that resolution? As such, you need to vote on the resolution, or the amendment first, then vote on the resolution as amended.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The initial resolution was to pass it as presented.
That's correct, so that's the
And then
initial.
there is amending,
That
so
is
the
correct.
amendment is being dealt with.
So you need to deal with the amendment first.
This is the amendment we're dealing with.
I'm sorry, I misinterpreted. I believe the chair said you were going to vote on the resolution as amended.
I did say that. So
The
if
original
I'm,
motion is amended by this motion.
Did the amendment pass?
we did not vote on the amendment as per se separately.
Well, then I believe the amendment needs to be voted on first, then the motion as amended may be voted on.
Okay, if we're going on it backwards, okay, we can do that.
Actually, note that it's actual change.
Okay, without putting the amendment in the motion, all right. Okay.
Moved by Councilor Lawrence.
Councilor Lawrence is asking for a recorded vote on the amendment. Councilor Thompson, you're, okay, you're still willing to,
Councilor Thompson.
yes. Okay.
Okay, so it would be it resolved that the Council of Municipality of West Grey hereby amends bylaw number 19 of 2050 by amending Schedule A to reflect no non-residential charge and the non-residential charge being reduced to $3,250.
I mean, that's not reduced, no, it's staying the same, I guess.
Remain the same.
Yeah,
Remains
for the duration of the 5-year period.
Yeah, remain the same.
Councilor Lawrence has asked for a recorded vote on the amendment.
Deputy Mayor Bell,
No.
Councillor Cutting,
Yes.
Councillor Hutchison,
Yes.
Councillor Lawrence, Councillor Marshall,
Yes.
Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
It's moved.
Okay, the vote says 5-1 in favor of the amendment.
Okay, now we'll go back to the resolution. And I'll read it once more, just in case anybody has forgot it. Moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by Doug Hutchinson, be it resolved that bylaw number 19, 2015, being bylaw to establish development charges, be now read a first, second, and third time passed as amended, and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and CAO deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. Okay? All right, I'll call the vote. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That would carry. All right. Very good. That item of business being done, we have one more bylaw. Moved by Don B. Marshall, seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that bylaw number 20, 2015, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the April 6, 2015 council meeting, be now read a first, second, and third time passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CAO deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. All right. Duly moved and seconded. All in favor of that resolution? Opposed, if any? That would carry. All right. Bylaws being done. Any new business? Sorry, Clerk Mark?
Yeah, new business.
Oh, that's new business? All right. We're out of bylaws. New business, yes.
Council, it would be appropriate for council to pass a motion to approve the Elmwood Fire Department 2015 budget. That would reflect the inclusion of the $8,900 amount for the compressor or the compressor bottles. So I would ask council consider that as a direct motion. We're done with new business.
Okay, when we're done our new business, we'll ask to see if that will be introduced. Any other new business? Mr. Thompson?
Just one item from the Ayton Normanby Homecoming Committee.
That's okay. Carries water.
They're requesting, they're doing a 18-month calendar for the homecoming, which sales, if it goes through, they're looking for 18 sponsors. And I was looking for permission from the municipality to use the West Grey logo and a sponsorship on one of the months of the out of the 18 to put our logo on that to show that we're sponsoring this calendar on their behalf. And the cost for that would be, I would cover that. And I'm just looking for the municipality to use permission to use the logo and the sponsorship. The calendars will go on sale in July, hopefully, if everything goes ahead. And the value set at that was $30 for a calendar, but it has the local Normanby Ayton scenes for homecoming. So what I'm asking for is permission to go ahead and use one of the business cards and put it in on the calendar.
Councilor Lawrence?
Well, I just, we had a meeting of the Ayton Rec the other night, and this issue came up. But my understanding was they're not looking for the municipality to pay the sponsorship. They're looking for us as individual councillors to contribute.
And that was the other alternative. They were looking at, I was asked if the municipality would, or if individual councillors would like to do that. You know, but right now they're limited to 18. If they wanted to expand that, you could do so, or different committees. I know they were going to approach the Normanby Rec Committee.
Yeah, they've already passed a motion
Yeah,
to
so they were going to sponsor
one.
1 month. And
Yeah.
I suppose if the municipality would like to sponsor a month, that would be all that's required. You wouldn't have to do it as an individual. If you would wish to, then yeah, by all means. I mean, imagine you could put your name on underneath the West Grey logo somewhere, or whatever. But it was basically left for. They have 18 people, organizations they want to approach, and West Grey was one of them. And we kind of left it at that point that instead of asking individual councillors or staff to do it, we just sum it up and put it under. And I think Larry had the wording, and when we spoke about it last week, in sponsorship, municipality of West Grey and sponsors through the mayor, and you maybe want to explain that a little bit. Do you remember what you said?
Better turn your mic on, Larry, please.
Sorry, just on behalf of the mayor, council, and staff of West Grey, we support the issuance of this calendar, sort of thing. Yeah. Right. Congratulations and best of luck. Yep.
Just asking permission to go ahead and use that, and then I'll look after the other end of it. It's $100. Yeah, and I said I would look after that.
Okay. All right. Anybody in disagreement with that? Item of business, okay? So I think we can, do we need a motion to, no, you don't need a motion to do that. That's more direction?
Yeah. Permission to use.
Yes? Okay. Everybody, I think we're okay with that. Very good. New business being done. Not seeing any more. Addendums. Don't think we have any addendums. Notice of motions. Mark has something here. If regarding the Elmwood Fire Board, it does concern the budget. Do you want me to read it first? And then we'll, no, I can't read unless we introduce it. All right, we'll do it that way. We need 2/3 majority to introduce this motion as a direct motion. Okay, all in favor of introducing this motion at this time? Seeing that I do have 2/3. Okay, let the people look at that. Okay. This is the motion moved by Bev Cutting, seconded by Carol Lawrence. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Gray hereby approves the Elmwood Fire Department 2015 budget as follows. Operations and maintenance expense, $201,057. Capital, $85,400, as recommended by the Elmwood Fire Department Joint Board of Management. Okay, and we've had numerous discussions revolving around a certain piece of apparatus and stuff, but we have since found out that our partners are not maybe as willing to move forward as the same direction as we are. But we need the budget passed, and some things can be and some things can't be. So, with that, we'll call the vote. All in favor? Opposed of any? That would carry. I would presume that, Madam Treasurer, if I might, it was presented in the budget this way. Okay, seeing your head, this isn't a complete shock and surprise. Okay, very good. All right, any other notice of motion, direct motions? Okay, seeing none, closed session. I don't believe we have any incomplete items from closed session. Matters arising from closed session? I don't think there are any. Question period. Look at that, we almost caught up. We're only 10 minutes behind. Any questions from any member of the audience? Or any members of the press? I knew there'd be one. Go ahead, Don.
About the Upton Grove, Ward Upton Grove study, they suggested it would cost $50,000 to bring this up to date, either 25,000 this year, 25,000 next year, or all of it this year.
The first of January, yes. 25, 1st July, 25, 1st of January, yes.
Is that in this year's budget?
That 25,000 is in this year's budget, yes. That was done realizing, probably shall we say, the worst case scenario. All right, yes please, and I forgot your name, it's just identify. Thanks, Adam.
Just a question for the CAO. Can you give us an example of some of the businesses that will be attending the job fair on the 16th? Just so company name.
Your worship, through you to the questioner, Adam.
Yes, of course.
I received an email from Mr. Monroe, Warren Monroe from YMCA of Owen Sound, who applies employment services. Some of the people that are confirmed and will be in attendance are Future Lawn Care, Platinum Irrigation, Ground Effects Landscaping, Maple Leaf Foods, Horizon Poultry, New Orleans Pizza from Durham, West Gray, Varney Full Throttle Speedway, The Agency, Chapman's, and Four Seasons Party Rentals. And that is an ongoing, because obviously there's additional people being recruited this week, so we're hoping to have a full house.
Okay, thanks Adam for the question. All right, seeing no other questions, I'm sorry, Councillor Lawrence. Okay, thanks for that update. Very good. All right. There are no municipal act notices that I know of, Mark. Okay. We're down. Oh, Mr. CAO, I almost went too fast. Go ahead.
One last item, Your Worship. I would encourage all the council to have a look at their emails. I believe there's a picture of the latest addition to the Eccles family in your email. So just as an FYI, came in hot off the proverbial internet.
The proud grandparents are doing what every grandparent does, get a picture on the internet. Go ahead, Carol.
I just wanted to remind everyone of the volunteer barbecue on Saturday.
Oh, yes.
I believe it's 11 to 2, is that what it is? 11:30 to 2, till 1:30 at the hall, the Durham Arena. Volunteer appreciation.
Absolutely, thanks for that update. I do have that marked down.
A bit of reply.
Taking care of it all.
Eunice is coordinating it, but Eunice has indicated to me verbally that there's been a really good response to it, so, yeah. Okay.
Good, it should be an enjoyable time by all. Councillor Doug, you're the one holding us up from that final motion. Go ahead. I'm sorry you won't be there, okay? Yes, that was kind of a hint to kind of get ready for the final motion. No, I think somebody stole it on you, you weren't here.
I think so. Well, good. Let somebody else do it.
So we would look for that one final motion. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Lawrence moves that we adjourn. I'll accept that motion. Duly noted, thank you. I don't think I can do it right now. We do stand adjourned. Thank you, council.